All right, everyone. I'm back with the first installment of my 2021 MLB preseason preview and predictions videos. And for this one, I'm going to start with the Chicago White Sox. Baseball on the south side of Chicago is back, and I personally can't wait to see it happen. As far as baseball on the north side with the Chicago Cubs, I can't wait for that either. But I'll get to that when the time for that video comes. Um, if you were to say um, how did the White Sox pair up this year as far as going into the start of the regular season? I would say, even though we just wrapped up spring training, in my opinion, the Chicago White Sox have one of the best teams in the American League, if not all of Major League Baseball. That reminds me of a little side story. Every once in a while, I'm reminded Tony La Russa is the new manager of the Chicago White Sox. He's 76 years old, Hall of Fame manager, and Ricky Renteria is no longer calling the shots. Tony La Russa was hired about 5 months ago, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I mean, why would you hire a guy who hasn't been on the Chicago White Sox managerial staff in 30 something years, 35 years or so? He's in his mid 70s. Ended up retiring after winning a World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals, and of all the teams to want to come back to, he ends up getting a phone call from the Chicago White Sox saying, "We're in need of a new manager. We just thought of you," and at the same time, we also fired Ricky Renteria. So they must know what they're doing. Apparently, they know more about it than I do. But on the other hand, in an era of Major League Baseball that's seen clubs turn to guys like Aaron Boone on the New York Yankees, Grandpa Rossi from the Chicago Cubs, also known as David Ross, in a bid to bridge the generational gap and connect with today's younger players. The Chicago White Sox handed the managerial reins to, again, they handed the reins to a guy who retired a decade ago after winning his third World Series. To say the least, it's a puzzling move, especially as the White Sox appear to be on the cusp of becoming perennial contenders in the American League Central, thanks to their talent, which the vast majority of that roster is still intact, with the exception of the 1% of guys who were either traded or released that are gone. The vast majority of the big name players, I'll say, are still intact. But as far as Tony La Russa goes, there's no denying that he's one of the most decorated managers in the history of Major League Baseball. No question about it. And he was unanimously elected to the Hall of Fame for a reason. But on the flip side of it, it's safe to say that much has changed since Tony La Russa last filled out his last lineup card, if you know what I mean. Excuse me. But then again, maybe Jerry Reinsdorf's thinking, there's enough talent in place to overcome whatever blind spots that Tony La Russa may have. So, is it wishful thinking? I'm guessing so, but my way of interpreting that is this: I have reason to be confident in my club, and I also have reason to be confident in the guy who I hired to be the new manager. So, again, the higher ups in the Chicago White Sox know more what's going on than I do. So, I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, you have Jose Abreu at first baseman. He was the American League MVP last year. He's actually the true leader, I'll say, as far as all the players. He leads an exciting lineup of young talent. Tim Anderson at shortstop, Yasmani Grandal at catcher, Dallas Keuchel at pitcher, Luis Robert at center field, Eloy Jimenez in left field, Adam Eaton, who I want to say who last played for the Chicago White Sox about 3 or 4 years ago. I want to say in 2018, I think it was the last time, or 2018 or 2017 was the last time he played for the White Sox. Somewhere along those lines, and he's back. He's playing right field. But nearly the entire lineup from last year, they're back, and again, with the exception of some players who got released and are no longer on the roster, or they're still on the free agent list. 99% of the team from last year is still here. It's just a new manager now calling the shots. With the Chicago White Sox traded for Lance Lynn from the Oakland Athletics in the offseason to help bolster that starting rotation, and I think that was a good move on the White Sox part, because the potential is there, the pieces are in place, but that leads to some of the questions leading into the regular season. Can the Chicago White Sox make the postseason again? I think they will. I'll go into that later. Can the Chicago White Sox make the postseason again? Can they hopefully make it past the first round? What all else is the team capable of doing? There's plenty more questions I could ask, but I could probably end up doing a 20-minute long video just based on all that. But in order to possibly make the postseason, compared to how the White Sox did last year, they're going to have to do a lot better than what they did last year if they want to claim their first division title since 2008. I mean, they can start by stepping up their game against their chief competition in the American League Central, for starters. And last year against the Cleveland Indians, the White Sox were 2-8, and against the Minnesota Twins, the White Sox broke even. They went 5-5. So, that being said, a little history lesson as far as last year. I'm going to try and make it as short as possible. I can't think of a better summary for last season than, as far as the White Sox, than just by saying this. Ricky Renteria took the Chicago White Sox to their first playoff appearance since 2008, which I was glad to see. I made a prediction in my 2020 MLB preseason prediction and previews video that the Chicago White Sox were going to make the postseason, and they did. But as far as Ricky Renteria, he was not only named a finalist for the American League Manager of the Year, he also ended up getting fired in that same season. So, Ricky Renteria gets fired in the same season that he takes the Chicago White Sox to their first playoff appearance since the 2008 MLB season. So, and is also named a finalist for the American League Manager of the Year. So is it coincidence? I don't know. I think the American League Manager of the Year went to, I can't remember his name now. The manager of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, whatever his name is, I can't think of it now. But on the other hand, I also got to thinking, parting ways with Ricky Renteria has become something of a rite of passage in Chicago. I mean, the Chicago Cubs gave him the figurative boot after one season in it was 2014, and shortly after that, they did that to make their way for Joe Madden. And a little more than a year and a half after Joe Madden got hired, the Chicago Cubs ended up winning a World Series for the first time in 108 years. So the Chicago White Sox seem to be following that same recipe, though I'm not sure they quite stuck the landing, for want of a better choice of words, in the hiring of their new manager. As far as the White Sox, so they had the best record in the American League last year. They went 32-16, and they were riding a 6-game winning streak on September 15th of last season. And then the figurative wheels came off. They lost 9 of their last 12 games, including a 4-game sweep courtesy of the Cleveland Indians, and they finished third in the American League Central. So, how do you top that? But while the Chicago White Sox finished 35-25 and made the playoffs during the shortened season, they stumbled down the stretch. They were running on fumes, and Jose Abreu tried to put the team on his back, and he tried to play the role of the savior, the knight in shining armor, the superhero, whatever other choice of words and examples you want to use. But again, the core pieces on the team just ran out of gas. Tim Anderson was en route to his first Silver Slugger award. He batted. He had a 1.76 or 0.176, excuse me, batting average during the season-ending slump. And Yoan Moncada and Luis Robert were both also below the Mendoza line over that final stretch. So it was a rough ending for the White Sox, even though they managed to squeeze into the postseason due to the expanded playoffs because of the COVID-19 pandemic and how they were able to make alterations as far as the playoffs and when the season starts and all that stuff. They were promptly eliminated in the first round by the Oakland Athletics, the same team that Lance Lynn was on at the time. So, Lance Lynn, at the time he was on the Oakland A's, and he ends up getting traded from the Oakland A's to the Chicago White Sox. So, who would have thought? The team that eliminated the Chicago White Sox last season, Lance Lynn was on, and then he finds out sometime during the offseason the team that I was originally on at the time, they want me on their roster, and I'm being given the old heave-ho out of Oakland and sent out to Chicago. So, who would have thought? But yeah, back on point as far as last year, the starting rotation began to break down, and even Lucas Giolito had a rough September. He posted a 4.18 ERA. And it was left to Dallas Keuchel to try and carry the load. He recorded a 0.46, 0.46, 0.46 or 0.45 ERA, one or the other. I think it was 0.45. In the final month of the regular season to put a bow on an outstanding first season on the South Side. But unfortunately, the efforts on behalf of Dallas Keuchel weren't enough to overcome the struggles of Reynaldo Lopez, Dylan Cease, and Lucas Giolito. But now the White Sox are looking to bounce back from everything that happened last year. So we can't dwell on the past, as everyone and their mother will tell you. Don't dwell on the past. Focus on the future, and that's what's going on here. And the way I see it, the main purpose of this video, giving you my thoughts as far as what the future may hold. Speaking of Lance Lynn, as far as the pitching rotation, getting production from the back end of the starting five is a key for a successful White Sox squad. I mean, you got Lance Lynn, you got Dallas Keuchel, and you got Lucas Giolito. They match up with most front threes. But the White Sox want Carlos Rodin and Dylan Cease on the lineup too in order to continue pitching as effectively as they did during spring training. Michael Kopech, on the other hand, he's going to start in the, I think, it's not Kopech. I think it'll be Giolito. He'll start in the White Sox bullpen. But on the other hand, he could also move to the rotation at some point too. So, projected pitching staff. For the White Sox, number 1, I'm going to say Giolito. Lucas Giolito at number 1, Dallas Keuchel at 2, Lance Lynn at 3, maybe Dylan Cease at 4, and Carlos Rodin at 5. Aaron Bummer, Garrett Crochet, Evan Marshall, Michael Kopech, Cody Hauer, Hauer, however you say his name. I think it's Hauer. Matt Foster, Jace Fry, and Liam Hendricks. They'll be in the bullpen. But as far as the pitching, though, it makes you wonder, have the Chicago White Sox finally put together a good rotation? I think so. Even though Lucas Giolito took a step back last year from how he did in 2019, this is going to be an all-out year for him. Some websites, as far as sabermetrics, they had a rather positive outing for Lance Lynn and Dallas Keuchel as well, giving the White Sox a top 3 that should rank amongst the best in the division. But it's the final 2 spots that are less certain, though, because Dylan Cease had a miserable first 2 years in the big leagues. But on the other hand, the Chicago White Sox seem confident that command issues are the only obstacle that stands in the way of him living up to his full potential as a former 6th-round draft pick. And, it's easy for me to say as far as, whatever your problems are, work them out, figure things out during spring training, and hopefully you move past those. But I'm not him, so what exactly the problems are, I can't give a diagnosis or a full report on. But Carlos Rodon, on the other hand, he saw limited action last year after recovering from Tommy John surgery, and in 4 appearances, his ERA ballooned to 8.23, which was enough for Chicago to non-tender him this offseason before signing him to a more team-friendly 1-year deal back in January. So clearly, the Chicago White Sox organization, they like the tools that Rodon has to work with. But either one of those guys is likely a placeholder until Michael Kopech is ready to come back and complete his transition to a starting role after a 2-year layoff. Until then, he's been focusing on working his full arsenal of pitches into game shape in the bullpen. And even if not just during spring training, what you can do in the off season in your own time, work out, practice at home or something like that. However it is you're able to do it. Work out, watch videos, work out, do whatever it is you need to do in order to get in shape. Or, not get in shape, but like a return to form, I'll say. That's a better choice of words. Excuse me, a projected lineup for the White Sox. Tim Anderson at shortstop. Oh, not a shortstop, I'm sorry. The projected lineup for the batting order, I should say. I'm getting my positions mixed up here. Number 1, shortstop, Tim Anderson. Number 2, center fielder, Luis Robert. Number 3, Jose Abreu, first baseman, I'm sorry. Number 4 spot, Yohan Moncada, third baseman. Number 5, sorry. I lost my train of thought. Left fielder, Eloy Jimenez. The number 6 spot, catcher, Yasmani Grandal. 7th spot, right fielder, Adam Eaton. 8th spot, Andrew Vaughn, designated hitter. And then you have second baseman, Nick Madrigal at number 9. Adam Engel, Larry Garcia, Zach Collins, and Jonathan Lucroy would be bench players. So, if I had to go on a guess, I think that's how the projected lineup will be. Maybe a couple guys will be switching the spots. A couple guys in the lineup that I predicted, they might go up or down a spot or 2. I have no idea, but now comes the predictions, some of the bold predictions. I might be going out on a limb on all these, but here we go. Prediction number 1. Chicago White Sox for the second time in their history, they make the postseason, which would make me happy. And that would also be a first in the franchise's history too. They would reach the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. Should that be, let's hope they make it past the first round. But Getting into the postseason isn't going to be enough for this team though, because the bullpen needs to work things out, and at the same time, the defense and the offense need to continue their roles as well. The Chicago White Sox bullpen figures to be one of the best in baseball, and the starting strong 1 through 6 with the return of Carlos Rodin and Kopech, that's gonna pay dividends for the team. But although Eloy Jimenez, he might not be back until sometime in August or September, assuming he even does. The Chicago White Sox have financial room to maneuver, and according to Rick Hahn, if they need to make an outside addition, then they'll do so. But those maneuvers might come well before the trade deadline, and that won't be until whatever it is. I don't even remember when it is, but anyway. The New York Yankees and the Minnesota Twins also look to be very strong, and the Chicago White Sox are right there with them. So hopefully the White Sox can make the postseason, and we'll just go from there. It'll be enough to make me happy. I say the same about the Chicago Cubs too, but I'll get to them in my next video, probably tomorrow night. But anyway, prediction number 2: over or under the number of wins for the Chicago White Sox. The over or under, I'm going to set it at 88.5. I'm going to take the over. I'm hoping they win 90 or more, which would be great because that's a mark they haven't reached since the 2006 season. And I predict their record is 93-69. So if they can win 90 games or more, that'd be a nice milestone. And for the first time in 15 years, you won 90 games or more, so that would be nice. Prediction number 3 for, if not the team MVP, maybe the American League MVP, but just solely talking about the team, Jose Abreu. A healthy Yohan Moncada looks primed for a big season this year, and quite possibly he's going to put up better overall numbers than Abreu. But in regards to Jose Abreu's importance to the lineup as a top run producer and a true leader in the clubhouse, he's the X factor here. I mean, he's the leader. He's the locker room leader. He's the guy who everyone rallies behind, and he also happened to be the 2020 American League MVP during the seventh season of a tremendous career. So if you were to cast a ballot right now, either team MVP and or American League MVP, who would it be? I would say Jose Abreu. Overall, guys, the Chicago White Sox, they have a talented young core, and I think this is going to make Tony La Russa's return a fun one, not just a return to baseball, but also a return to the Chicago White Sox. This is the first time in like 35 years or something like that was the last time Tony La Russa was the manager of the White Sox. So he's back. He's out of retirement, and maybe he's got a couple things in store for us that we all don't already know. I mean, we're watching spring training, we're reading things on the internet, but on the whole, this is going to be a rather interesting year for the Chicago White Sox. At least in my opinion, it will be. So anyway, that'll do it for me. Keep an eye out for my Chicago Cubs, Houston Astros, and Boston Red Sox videos. I'm going to try and get those out before opening day. Drop a comment. Drop a comment. Hit the subscribe button. Give a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Keep an eye out for my other MLB preseason preview and predictions video for 2021. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll catch up with you guys whenever I catch up with you. So, be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, And that's really about it. So follow me on Instagram, subscribe to me on YouTube. I'll return the favor. Let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you guys later. Again, Volume 2 for 2021 MLB preseason predictions and previews. That's going to be the Chicago Cubs. Volume 3, I'm going to try and get my Chicago White Sox. I'm doing this one now. I'm sorry. Volume 2, Chicago Cubs. Volume 3, Boston Red Sox. Volume 4, Houston Astros. Hoping to get those out between now and opening day, which I believe is April Fool's Day, which is this Thursday. So, that being said, I will talk to you guys later. Have a good night, and I'm out. Talk to you later.